Can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But
you know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
This record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like, you dig? Came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then, as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
Jim Jones really picked the wrong legends to call out. Nas and Pusha T, two certified icons, and he went at both of them like he had nothing left to lose. Now his whole music career is dangling by a thread, and that's all it took for the culture to turn on him. He claimed Nas was never that impactful, called Pusha T overrated, and even said he was the one who made Nas go viral again. People said that was the moment he crossed a line he couldn't walk back. Because what followed didn't feel like normal rap beef, it felt like the whole game was ready to shut him out. It seemed like something deeper was brewing behind the scenes. The real question is, was this just another ego-fueled rant that went too far, or was the culture that he once helped build now pushing him out in broad daylight? That quote is still spreading like wildfire, that Summer Jam set got axed, and Pusha T, he's not backing off anytime soon. Let's roll it back and see what really set off this slow-motion public takedown. That one comment sent Jim into a nosedive. It wasn't just a slick insult, it was straight up trying to wipe Nas off the map. He wasn't just criticizing Nas' new tracks, he was throwing out the entire legacy of one of the most respected game-changing artists in hip-hop. And it's not like he said it on some tiny platform. He dropped this bomb on the Joe and Jada podcast, a show known for its chill, unfiltered chats, not for ending careers. But Jim didn't even try to soften the blow. He went even harder. He said with his chest that Nas never really meant much to the culture, and even claimed his own Billboard stats could match or beat Nas.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening.
Let's get one thing straight. Nas isn't just another rapper. He's a cornerstone of hip-hop. Illmatic is so legendary it's studied in college classes. Even seasoned rappers admit it still gives them nightmares. And King's Disease proved he's nowhere near finished. He's leveling up with every release. Meanwhile, Jim's out here talking like he just dropped The Chronic. Crazy thing is, this wasn't even about rap. It was pure ego. It was straight up insecurity disguised as an opinion, and the wildest part, he even dragged his kid into it. Like, what kind of example is that supposed to set? The internet didn't waste a second, they went in on him hard. People were throwing up side-by-side receipts, every Nas award, every sold-out show, every classic album stacked against Jim's chart stats. All this drama because Jim decided to rewrite history with a hot take literally no one asked for. Most folks, after getting roasted online for disrespecting a legend, might walk it back or at least chill out for a minute. But not Jim, nah. He doubled down, then went on Nightcap, stared Shannon Sharp dead in the eye, and tripled down. He really said Nas never had the influence people think he did. Then he dropped that wild line about Nas always being in second place. Second to who? Jay and DMX? Come on! Those three weren't even in the same lane. Nas was all about poetry, spirit, and storytelling. Jay brought the corporate grind. DMX was raw pain and chaos. It's like comparing Kendrick to Future. They're totally different animals, different styles, different goals. But saying Nas never led the pack, that's not just an opinion, it's rewriting the whole story. And the funniest part? Jim doesn't even deny he was a fan. He straight up admitted that as a teenager, he wanted to dress like Nas.
I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like, he
Ain't
never
no
had
shame in that. There a lot of mofos came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album.
Now he's acting like a movie from 1998 is enough reason to erase a 30-year career. Wild. This is where the real delusion shows up. It stopped being about stats or opinions. Jim started talking like he wanted Nas beneath him and was mad the numbers wouldn't back him up. This wasn't about respect. It was about trying to force himself into the same convo as the true GOATs. But all he did was show the world how insecure he is about never being mentioned with them. And if you thought Jim was gonna ease up, forget it. On Bag Fuel, he dropped one of the craziest lines in this whole saga. He didn't just say Nas wasn't relevant. He didn't just claim Nas was second place. Nope. He said, "The reason you're being talked about is because you're making stupid comments about Nas, and that's the only reason why people are interviewing you for the clicks." Another wrote, "The amount of delusional disrespect from Jim Jones towards Nas is getting out of hand. I'm sick of it. You get no stripes for saying ish like this. And the receipts don't lie. The math just didn't add up. Nas has been active. 3 albums in 5 years, a Grammy win, and multiple sold-out shows. He's still putting in real work. Meanwhile, Jim's been busy running his mouth on podcasts. He really thought he was launching some hot new trend. What he actually did was start the slow march for his own career's funeral." Let's rewind to 2024 for context. The Louis Vuitton Spring-Summer show in Paris was packed with legends. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, LeBron, and just about every powerful figure in music.
Can you sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now? His records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I
them.
love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan. He's like, I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records. Pusha T, I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought, like you dig, like, where I'm from, niggas want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things like that.
Wayne wanted to be like Pusha?
Shit.
He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. But what else has he bring to the game? Did he make people want to dress like him? Did he have some slang that everybody was talking like him? There'll be the girls, all the girls wanted to do him. Like, what is the...
Fashion and culture were colliding in the spotlight. Cameras everywhere. Pharrell was dropping his first collection as the new head of Louis Vuitton Men's, making history right there on the runway. Then out of nowhere, the beat hits. But this wasn't just any track, it was Clipse. For the first time in over a decade, Pusha T and his brother No Malice unveiled a brand new song with pointed, razor-sharp lyrics. You could feel the whole vibe shift in an instant. Even Jay-Z was nodding along, feeling the energy. This wasn't just a casual diss, it was an all-out declaration of war. And they didn't drop it on some random mixtape. They premiered it in the middle of the most high-profile event of the year. The lyrics spelled it out clear as day. Everyone knew exactly who they were aiming at. That line about chasing a feature out of your element was a clear shot at Jim cozying up to Drake after getting crowned an honorary Dipset member in Harlem. And let's not forget, that's the same Drake Pusha humiliated with the story of Adidon, a wound that still hasn't fully healed. This wasn't Pusha throwing up a quick diss on SoundCloud, this was calculated, strategic. He turned Paris Fashion Week into his personal battleground. That's the level he's playing on. Meanwhile, Jim kept going on The Breakfast Club, Rap Caviar, Drink Champs, dragging Pusha's name through the mud, claiming Pusha's not even top 50. But instead of rolling around in the podcast drama, Pusha put billionaires, fashion houses, and music royalty in the front row of his payback. And you can't ignore the layers here. It wasn't just about the words, it was the entire setting. Pharrell himself produced the track. The same Pharrell who helped define Clipse's whole sound, who's rooted deep in Virginia and plugged straight into fashion's elite. They even debuted Chains and Whips, reportedly made right inside LV's Paris HQ, overlooking the Seine River. Pharrell told the New York Times he pointed out the window and said, "This was made in this room. We just started walking around looking out this window and you see all of this. I mean, we're beating this system, bro." While Pusha was making power moves in Paris, Nas was busy building an empire in Queens. While Jim was out here chasing blog headlines, Nas was locking in Resorts World Queens, a massive 350,000 square foot casino project with a $5 billion plan behind it. This wasn't just another celebrity endorsement, it was Nas putting real money into infrastructure, equity, and generational wealth for his whole borough.
It lives in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the people who refuse to stand still. Resorts World is more than a casino. It's energy, it's opportunity, it's hope for the borough. A second chance for some, a first step for many. It's where community gathers. Not just to win, but to build a future once imagined. This isn't just business. This is legacy. And now it's time. Time to invest in us.
Meanwhile, Jim Jones is somewhere bragging about Summer Jam slots like it's still 2008. Nas didn't even need to spit a single bar in response. He dropped straight up receipts. And those hits landed harder than any diss track could ever dream of. Fans picked up on it immediately. The comments under Nas's announcement were savage. People were saying things like, someone who can't stop yapping is worried about going viral. Nas out here making real boss moves. That's the difference. When you're truly rich, truly respected, and truly relevant, you don't have to clap back online, you let your life do the talking. Meanwhile, Jim couldn't even hold the stage. Let's paint the picture. Summer Jam 2024, the big shot Jim had been chasing all year, but the second he touched that stage, dead silence, crickets in the crowd, and then it got even uglier. Funkmaster Flex, who had been one of Jim's biggest supporters for years, straight up cut his set short. You could see it hit Jim right there on stage. This was supposed to be his big moment, the payoff for all that beef stirring, but the hype didn't convert, because at the end of the day, Jim didn't bring the hits, he brought drama, and crowds weren't here for it. But even with all that humiliation, Jim still wasn't finished. He had one more shot to fire, and this time, he made it personal. After that Louis Vuitton takeover, Pusha didn't do much talking in public, but word on the street was clear, he wasn't finished. Insiders close to Clipse started whispering that their upcoming reunion album was locked and loaded with precise cutting shots aimed straight at Jim. That Paris debut track? That was just the warning shot, the rest is supposed to get way darker. Some folks in the industry are calling it his Coke Bear moment because Pusha's leaning all the way into that villain role. He's not playing it safe at all, and if Jim keeps running his mouth, it's looking like it'll be lyrical homicide. And it's not just about the bars, it's about the whole setup. Pusha's carefully aligning his comeback with elite spaces, high fashion, and global stages, while Jim's out here rapping in Harlem back alleys over the same beat he just got bodied on. Yeah, you read that right. Jim actually tried to flip the chains and whips beat and drop his own freestyle in response, but he didn't stop there. He went too far when he threw shade at No Malice. That's where it got extra messy. Pusha can handle the shots, sure, but bringing up No Malice, a man who left the rap game to focus on faith and turned his life around, that wasn't just a diss, that was flat out disrespect. Pusha hasn't clapped back in public yet, but if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he doesn't react quickly, he reacts carefully. And when he finally moves, it hits hard. But Jim couldn't help himself. He went and made his biggest mistake yet on camera. During an interview, he straight up dissed Clipse's brand new single ACE Trumpets, one last wild swing, trying to play it off like it was all cool. But even after that messy interview, Jim just couldn't read the room. Instead of laying low, he kept popping up on podcasts running the same tired narrative that Pusha and Nas were overrated. Like he didn't just get embarrassed in front of the whole industry. Meanwhile, Pusha stayed silent, but that silence was loud. Every time Jim talked, it felt like he was digging his own hole deeper. Fans started clowning him online, saying things like, "Bro's doing PR for Pusha for free," and every time Jim speaks, Pusha's album pre-orders go up. The internet wasn't letting him live it down. And you know what made it worse? Industry folks began distancing themselves quietly. Suddenly, the same DJs and hosts who hyped Jim up were too busy to have him back. Brands weren't calling. Summer shows didn't want the drama on their stages. Jim thought he was starting a conversation. He ended up starting his own cancellation. Meanwhile, Pusha was spotted in meetings with big-time execs, locking in collabs with luxury brands, and showing up at art shows with billionaires. It was chess moves in real time. He didn't even need to drop another diss track yet. The optics alone had Jim looking like the neighborhood loudmouth who got left behind. And the craziest part? Nas didn't even acknowledge Jim at all. No tweets, no interviews, nothing. Just more business deals, more sold-out shows, and more respect from everyone that mattered. He let the silence speak volumes.
About Pusha T.
People don't like people, yeah, see? There we go. And then look what happens. But I'm ready for all things, man. Shouts to Pusha, shouts to that guy, shouts to the Clipse. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
Do you like the new song?
No, but you know.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great about it?
It's so good.
It's good.
It's so, oh man.
It's good.
So yeah, there's something going on that you ain't telling us about, bro.
It's good in what? A nostalgic value of it.
You don't think Ace Trumpets is
believe
hard?
it. I don't believe them. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to downplay nobody's craft in it.
By the end of it, Jim was out here talking to whoever would still put a mic in front of him, trying to explain why he wasn't actually mad while literally sounding mad. The energy shifted permanently. What started as trash talk turned into a lesson on knowing when to stay humble or risk losing it all. Jim tried to play it cool, claiming he doesn't even listen to Clip, but you could hear the fake chill cracking with every word. The insecurity was dripping because deep down he knew exactly who they were talking about and that they bodied him without even breaking a sweat. And here's where the whole vibe shifted. It wasn't just Pusha and Nas anymore. It felt like the entire culture was shutting the door on Jim. Blogs roasted him nonstop. Even hardcore Dipset fans started telling him to pack it up and quit while he was behind. This wasn't just a rap beef, it was a lesson in knowing your lane. Jim Jones walked into a heavyweight ring with Nas and Pusha T thinking he had the bars to compete, only to get folded without them even replying directly. Nas stayed silent and let the business moves speak. Pusha played chess on global stages, and Jim, he got left looking like he was beefing with himself. Now he's not trending. He's not on the playlists. He's like a ghost in his own game. And here's the real kicker. The next Clipse album hasn't even dropped yet. That might be the final nail in the coffin. If you thought this beef was wild already, just wait until you hear what's coming next. So if you're into all this drama, music battles, and the real stories behind the scenes, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more. Your support means everything. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for even more of the Real Talk next time.